My name is Agnes, and I was 35 years old when my husband told me that because I lost my job, our marriage was now optional. I had been laid off 3 weeks earlier. Tech layoffs, whole department gone, nothing personal, just numbers on a spreadsheet. I received a solid severance package, 6 months of salary, $78,000 in total. We weren't struggling, not even close. Our mortgage was manageable, our savings intact, bills paid on time. I was applying for jobs daily and already had 2 interviews scheduled. This was supposed to be a temporary setback, the kind of thing married couples face together. That's what I thought. Last Tuesday, he came home from work and sat down at the kitchen table while I was making tacos. He didn't help, didn't hug me, didn't ask how my applications were going. He just said, "We need to discuss something." His tone was rehearsed, calm in a way that felt unnatural. I turned off the stove and asked what was wrong. "Our relationship dynamic has changed," he said, "now that you're not working." "Different how?" I asked. "I've got severance. We're fine financially." "It's not about money," he said, still refusing to look at me. "It's about balance, power. I'm the only one working now. I'm carrying stress. I need space." "Space," I repeated. "Freedom," he corrected. "I've been thinking about this, and I want an open relationship." The word sat between us like something poisonous. I stared at him, waiting for the punchline, but he looked relieved, like he'd finally said something he'd been holding in. "Open relationship until you find work," he added. "Things are off right now. I shouldn't have to feel tied down to someone who's unemployed." "Tied down," I said. "We're married." "Exactly," he replied. "Marriage shouldn't trap me when circumstances change. I deserve options." Options. The way he said it felt practiced, polished. I asked how long he'd been thinking about this. He shrugged and said it didn't matter. Then he stood up and delivered the ultimatum like it was a reasonable compromise. Either we open things up temporarily, or I leave. I looked at him for a long moment. The defensiveness, the language of entitlement, the absence of concern for what this would do to me, and I said the only thing that made sense in that moment. "I understand." His eyes widened. "You do?" "I understand your position," I said quietly. He smiled like he'd won. "Good. I'm going out tonight. Girls' night with coworkers. Don't wait up." He went upstairs. I heard the shower. 20 minutes later, he came down wearing a dress shirt I'd never seen before. Hairstyled, cologne on. He left around 7:30. I sat on the couch, staring at the TV for an hour before I remembered something we'd installed 6 months ago after package thefts. The Ring doorbell camera. I opened the app. And that's when everything changed. The Ring app opened with a quiet chime, the kind of sound that usually meant nothing more than a package arriving, or a neighbor walking their dog too close to our porch. I tapped into the timeline without thinking much about it at first, just a vague unease pushing me forward. The most recent clip was from earlier that morning, before he left for work. Normal. Him locking the door, car pulling out of the driveway. Nothing strange. I scrolled back. Monday night, 3:42 a.m. I tapped the thumbnail and the video expanded. A black SUV rolled into the frame, headlights cutting across the porch. The passenger door opened, and my husband stepped out, steadying himself with one hand on the door. He leaned back in through the window, laughed at something I couldn't hear, then kissed the driver. Not a friendly peck. A deliberate kiss. He waved, the SUV pulled away, and he fumbled with his keys like he didn't want to wake me. My stomach dropped so fast I had to sit down. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. One clip didn't mean everything. Maybe this was what he meant by thinking about an open relationship. Maybe it had started after our conversation. I scrolled again. Friday night, 4:15 a.m. A silver sedan this time. Same routine. Door opens. He steps out. Leans in. Another kiss. He stumbles a little, laughs, takes off his shoes on the porch before unlocking the door. Wednesday, 3:58 a.m. A red pickup truck. He's clearly drunk, giggling, nearly dropping his phone. Another woman behind the wheel. Another kiss goodbye. I watched all 3 clips back to back, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. 3 different cars. 3 different nights. All before last Tuesday. All before he ever asked me for an open relationship. My chest felt tight, like there wasn't enough air in the room. I kept scrolling, half hoping to find something that disproved what I already knew. There was one more. Sunday night, 4:07 a.m. White Jeep. He gets out slowly this time, straightens his shirt, smooths his hair like he's preparing for an audience. He blows a kiss, shuts the door, and the Jeep pulls away. He looks up at the doorbell camera for half a second. Not directly, but close enough that I wondered if some part of him knew he was being recorded. Then he unlocks the door and disappears inside. 4 different cars. 4 different women, all within a single week. The open relationship conversation wasn't a request. It wasn't about freedom or balance or power dynamics. It was cleanup, retroactive permission, a way to make me complicit in something he'd already been doing behind my back. My hands went numb as the realization settled in. He hadn't asked because he was conflicted. He'd asked because he was caught in his own head and needed me to sign off on his guilt. I sat there on the couch until almost 2 a.m, replaying the clips, listening to the quiet house around me, waiting for the sound of his car. When I checked the app again at 4:30, the motion alert popped up right on schedule. I watched live as the white Jeep from earlier pulled into the driveway again, like a bad habit repeating itself. He got out, steadied himself against the door, waved, then came inside trying to be quiet. I didn't move. I didn't confront him. I stayed on the couch, phone in my hand, watching the replay loop on the screen. When he finally crept upstairs and collapsed into bed, still wearing his clothes, makeup smudged across his collar from someone else's face, I grabbed a pillow and went to the guest room. I didn't sleep. Morning came anyway. I was up at 6, made coffee, opened my laptop, and started applying to jobs like nothing had happened. He came downstairs around 10, looking rough, hair messy, eyes bloodshot. Morning, I said evenly. He poured himself coffee and asked what time I'd gone to bed. Not sure, I said. You get home okay last night? Yeah, around midnight, he replied without hesitation. Stayed at a coworker's place after the bar. Her apartment's close. It was a lie. Casual, effortless. The ring footage had him arriving at 4:30 a.m. in a Jeep that didn't belong to him. Different woman than the others. I nodded and said, Cool, sounds like you needed to blow off some steam. He looked at me for a second, like he was checking for something, then shrugged and said he was going to shower. As soon as he went upstairs, I opened my messages and typed out a text to his father. We'd always gotten along. Old school, practical, married to his mother for almost 4 decades. The kind of man who believed in vows and consequences. I asked if he had time for a call later and said I needed advice about something uncomfortable. He replied within minutes. Call anytime. I waited until my husband left for his afternoon shift. Once his car was gone, I called his father and told him there was something he needed to see. I asked if I could send him a few videos from our Ring camera. There was a pause on the line, then a cautious yes. I sent all 4 clips. The timestamps, the different vehicles, the kiss goodbyes. Then I sent screenshots of the text conversation from Tuesday, where my husband demanded an open relationship because I'd lost my job. My phone rang almost immediately. What the hell is this? His father demanded, voice tight with shock. That's your son coming home over the last week, I said. He told me yesterday he wants an open relationship because I'm unemployed. But he'd already been doing this before that conversation. I heard muffled voices in the background. His mother asking what was wrong. Then her voice coming through the phone, asking where her son was right now. At work, I said. Afternoon shift. She asked if the videos were real. I told her they were time and date stamped from our security camera. There was silence, then the line went dead. I set my phone down on the table and took a slow breath. I hadn't yelled. I hadn't begged. I hadn't accused him to his face yet. I'd just let the truth go where it needed to go. Whatever happened next, he wasn't in control of the story anymore. And for the first time since I lost my job, I felt like I could stand upright again. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. I knew it was him before I looked. I could hear the panic in the silence between rings, like the call itself was already shaking. When I answered, his voice was breaking before he even formed a sentence. What did you do, Agnes? I answered his parents' questions honestly, I said, calm enough to surprise myself. You sent them videos of me. His words came out sharp, desperate. Private videos. Private, I repeated. It's our front door camera. You knew it was there. We installed it together. You had no right to send that to them, he said, voice cracking now. You humiliated me. You demanded an open relationship yesterday, I said. Those videos show you'd been sleeping around for days before that. Your parents deserve to know what was actually happening. That's my business, not theirs. Really. Because when you brought up an open relationship, you made it my business. And when you lied to my face about where you were and who you were with, you made it everyone's business. He started sobbing then, the sound raw and uncontrolled. My mom is losing it. She's saying I'm a disgrace. My dad won't even talk to me. What did you expect? I asked quietly. That they'd be okay with you cheating on your wife. I wasn't cheating, he snapped. We're in an open relationship. We never agreed to that. You said you understood. I said I understood your position, That's not agreement. And even if I had agreed, you were doing this before you asked. That's called cheating. You're twisting everything, he shouted. I'm stating facts. 4 different cars, 4 different nights, all before Tuesday. I hate you, he said, like a child throwing something he couldn't carry anymore. I'm coming home. Cool, I said. I'll be here. He hung up on me. I made myself lunch after that. A turkey sandwich, ate it slowly, checked job listings, applied to 3 more positions. Everything felt strangely normal, like the chaos was happening in a different room of the house, and I'd finally closed the door. He came home about an hour later and burst through the front door, eyes red, face blotchy, breathing hard. You destroyed everything, he said. How so? I asked, looking up from my laptop. My parents, my family, everyone's going to know. Know what? The truth. You're such a bitch, he snapped. I stared at him for a moment, not hurt, just tired. I'm not the one who came home at 4 in the morning, 4 times last week in 4 different cars. He started pacing, hands in his hair. Those videos are out of context. What context makes kissing 4 different women in 4 different cars okay while you're married? I needed space, he said. I was figuring things out. By sleeping with other people. They're not random, he shot back. One's from the gym. Another is... He stopped himself. You don't have to explain yourself to me anymore, I said. You already did. He grabbed his keys. I'm leaving. Where to? I asked. One of their places. Screw you. He slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. I picked it up after he left. Our wedding photo. We both looked happy in it. Or maybe just hopeful. I set it face down on the table. My phone rang again. His father. Can we come over? He asked quietly. Sure. They arrived 20 minutes later. His mother's eyes were swollen from crying. His father looked like he hadn't slept. We sat in the living room and I showed them everything on my laptop, the full clips, the timestamps, the messages. His mother kept shaking her head, whispering that she didn't understand. His father asked when I'd lost my job. 3 weeks ago. And you're not broke. No, we're fine financially. Then why would he say the relationship needed to be open because you're unemployed? I think he needed an excuse, I said. Something to make what he was already doing sound justified. His father leaned back, rubbing his face. Where is he now? Left about an hour ago. Probably with one of them, his mother said bitterly. They apologized to me before they left, over and over. It felt strange being apologized to by the people who raised the man who hurt me. His mother hugged me tightly at the door. You didn't deserve this, she said. After they left, I called my brother and told him everything. He was quiet for a long time, then said the only thing that mattered. Get a lawyer. Protect yourself. I already planned to. That night, my husband came home late. I'd locked the bedroom door. I heard him try the handle. Seriously, you're locking me out, he said. Guest room's available. This is my house too. Then sleep on the couch. He muttered something under his breath and walked away. An hour later, the guest room door slammed. I lay awake listening to the house settle, feeling something close to relief. Whatever this was now, it was no longer hidden. And that changed everything. I woke up to 31 notifications and didn't read a single one. I deleted the previews without opening them and went straight to the kitchen. The house felt different in the morning, heavier somehow, like the walls had absorbed everything that happened the night before. His car was gone. The guest room door was open, bed unmade, the pillow on the floor. A note sat on the counter in his handwriting. We need to talk. I'm staying at a friend's place until you calm down. I crumpled it and dropped it in the trash without slowing my steps. I called a divorce attorney that morning. The consultation was at 2. His office was plastered with awards and billboards promising aggressive representation. I laid everything out calmly. The layoff, the severance, the demand for an open relationship, the ring footage with timestamps, the text conversation, the lies. He watched the clips without interrupting, took notes, asked pointed questions. This is clear adultery, he said finally. Multiple instances, well documented. In this state, fault matters. Judges don't like cheaters, especially when there's proof. What about the house? I asked. Both our names are on the mortgage, but I paid the down payment before we got married. $45,000 from my savings. That matters, he said. We can argue it comes off the top before equity is split. With this evidence, you're in a strong position. Alimony is unlikely. Marriage under 5 years. Both employable. Clean break is realistic. I paid the retainer and walked out feeling oddly steady. Not relieved. Steady. Like I'd finally put my feet on solid ground. When I got home, he was sitting on the porch, eyes red, face tight. Your car's here, he said. It's my house too, apparently. He followed me inside, talking before the door closed. You overreacted. You didn't have to send those videos to my parents. I poured water and took a sip before answering. You didn't have to cheat on me 4 times in 1 week. He scoffed. Those videos are out of context. What context makes kissing 4 different women in 4 different cars, okay, while you're married? I needed space, he said, louder now. I was figuring things out. By sleeping with other people. He snapped his head toward me. You're twisting this. You monitored me. It's our security camera. You knew it was there. You used the front door every time. He paced, then tried a different angle. You embarrassed me. You turned my family against me. I told them the truth. You did that all by yourself. He went quiet, then said the thing he thought would scare me. I'll fight this. I won't make it easy. I nodded. I hired a lawyer this morning. His face drained of color. You what? Dead serious. He grabbed his bag and started stuffing clothes into it, moving fast, angry. I watched from the doorway, not stopping him, not helping. He paused once like he expected me to say something that would pull him back into control. I didn't. He left again, harder this time, slamming the door. An hour later, my phone buzzed. A group text he'd sent to friends and family, including me. Just so everyone knows, my wife is trying to divorce me because I went out with friends while she's unemployed. She's controlling and abusive, and I need support. I stared at it for a beat, then typed one response. Correction. I'm divorcing you because you cheated with 4 different people in the last week, then tried to gaslight me into an open relationship to justify it. I have Ring camera footage with timestamps of all 4 nights. Anyone wants to see it, happy to share. Silence followed. Then people started leaving the chat. His cousin messaged privately asking if it was true. I sent the clips. His uncle asked the same. I sent the clips. His best friend called me psychotic. I replied, I'm documented. There's a difference. His parents called that afternoon. They apologized again and told me they were setting the record straight with family. We know the truth, his father said. We won't let him rewrite it. That night, the house was quiet. Too quiet. I slept anyway. For the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. The divorce took 3.5 months and somehow felt longer than the marriage itself. It was a slow grind of paperwork, mediation dates, and emails that tried to turn reality into something negotiable. He fought everything. The house, the furniture, even the stupid little things like who kept the Instant Pot we got as a wedding gift. His lawyer tried to paint me as financially abusive for monitoring him while unemployed, as controlling for weaponizing the Ring camera, as manipulative for turning his parents against him. My lawyer didn't raise his voice once. He just played the videos, timestamp after timestamp, 4 different nights, 4 different cars, 4 different kisses. Facts have a way of ending arguments without drama. We ended up in mediation after 2 months because his side realized court would be worse. The mediator was a tired woman in her 50s who looked like she'd seen every trick in the book and had no patience left for nonsense. She reviewed the evidence, asked a few clarifying questions, then leaned back and said it plainly. Documented adultery. Multiple instances. Fault matters here. The recommendation was simple. The house would sell. I'd get my $45,000 down payment returned first. The remaining equity would split 60-40 in my favor. No alimony, clean break. His lawyer tried to argue context again. The mediator shut him down. What context changes arriving at 4 a.m. in different vehicles and engaging in intimate behavior while married? Silence answered for him. My husband looked at the table, then whispered fine like it cost him something physical to say it. We signed. Just like that. Months of chaos reduced to ink on paper. The house sold in 3 weeks. The market was hot. I walked away with enough to breathe again. 2 weeks before the divorce finalized, I got an offer from a new tech company. Better title. $15,000 more than my last salary. The layoff that had started everything ended up pushing me somewhere better. I moved into a 1-bedroom downtown, light in the mornings, quiet at night. Everything in it was mine. No echoes, no accusations, no cameras watching me exist. He tried to reach out a few times after the papers were signed. New numbers, long messages about mistakes and growth and how we both contributed. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry, because the conversation was over. His parents still check in sometimes. Holiday cards, birthday texts. His mother hugged me at Thanksgiving and cried, telling me she was sorry for what he put me through. His father shook my hand and said I handled it with more grace than most people would have. That mattered. People ask if I'm bitter. I'm not. I'm clear. He wanted an open relationship the moment I became inconvenient. He got a divorce instead. His choices had consequences. The Ring camera didn't ruin his life, it just recorded it honestly. I'm not dating yet. I'm rebuilding trust in quieter ways. Morning coffee without rushing. Workdays that end without dread. Evenings where nothing needs explaining. I lost a husband who was already gone and gained something I hadn't had in a long time. Stability, self-respect, peace. If there's a lesson here, it's simple. When someone tries to rewrite reality to protect themselves, documentation matters. When someone demands freedom at your expense, you're allowed to walk away. I didn't win anything. I just stopped losing myself. That's enough for me.